Good evening. Welcome into a DNVR Rockies post-game chat. I'm your host, Drew Kreisman. This will probably, almost certainly not, make it to a podcast. I expect this evening's conversation to be relatively short for a number of reasons. The most of which is my own this sort of state of mind and state of being right now. And so I do want to talk, I think, a little bit about the Rockies' 10-4 loss to the Padres. Rough one there. Kyle Freeland's worst start of the year. A tough implosion from the bullpen. The offense fell silent after the first inning. But I am in a very weird headspace. I think a lot of you know that in addition to everything else just sort of going on in the world, if you followed me for a long time, you know that I am a big comic book fan in addition to being a big baseball fan. And obviously we've talked a lot about racial justice issues over the years, and it's only occurred to me in the last half an hour or so since the news of the passing of Chadwick Boseman how important a couple of figures that he portrayed have been in my life and in my understanding of those issues. And so I'm just not in a great space right now to talk about baseball. But I think I should try, because we've had the social conversation for a while here, and cancer sucks and everybody knows that. But I just need to be honest with all of you that I'm in a weird space. And I just want to let you know that I read my first Black Panther comic when I was 7 years old. I think that's about right. And obviously, huge Jackie Robinson fan and the whole thing, and I'm a big movie guy. It's why we did Movie Week here at DNVR, and so I'm very, in addition to everything else that's been going on, and I wasn't expecting this one to hit me the way that it did. But it has, and so I'm sorry about that. But I just want to let you all know that that's why I'm only going to talk for a few minutes about the game and take some time for myself. And it's not about myself, but I'm just going to take some time. Let me let me breathe for a second. Thank you. I apologize. I really do. This is not what I was. It's been a week, hasn't it? And I apologize for the amount of emotion that there's been on what is ostensibly a show and a podcast to talk about baseball. Okay. And I'm good. So, yeah, there was right back to stuff. Matt Kemp hitting a big home run in his first at bat back after making a big stance. So that was pretty amazing to see as well. But this one really did come down to me actually to a key moment. If I can try to step inside the baseball game for a moment, it was even after. I think the Padres had already taken the lead. Again, I am really sorry for how scattered I was. And the reason I told you about this is because we got the news in the middle of the game, and I just was not able to focus on it very well. And so I want to give you the best baseball analysis that I can, but my mind was not entirely on this game. And so I'll try to jump into it again with Patrick tomorrow. But there was a key at bat there for Fernando Tatis against Jeff Hoffman. And Jeff got him down to 2 strikes and threw what I thought were 2 really good pitches. He came up and in with a fastball that Tatis just barely managed to foul off. and he went away with a fastball at 96 off the plate that Tatis just barely managed to foul off. And then he threw him a fastball that caught a little bit more of the zone. And Tatis hit it into the oppo gap, right, for a double. And then he ended up that was the game was still tied at 4-4 at that point. And that right there, that was the key pitch outcome of the game. Once that went the Padres' way, I was pretty sure they were going to win with the Rockies offense not having the momentum. They did have a chance late. Garrett Hampson, I thought he had gotten that ball down into the gap. That would have been for 3 runs and would have changed the nature of the end game there. But that's a tough one, man. Hoffman, after being the savior in the game they almost blew against the Diamondbacks, comes out in that situation. He kind of bailed Kyle out of his rough outing, and I'd run through the details, but most of them have slipped out of my mind. The 4th inning was mostly full of nonsense for Kyle Freeland. That hit batsman was garbage. He had to throw 6 strikes to get Tatis, who's like the hottest hitter in baseball. But after all that, Kyle just didn't have it tonight. He was getting hit hard from the 1st inning. I thought the broadcast did a really good job actually of highlighting that using exit velocity. I know Manny Machado hit one at 178 miles an hour or something like that early. So Kyle, his pitches were just up, and San Diego was hitting the ball hard, and San Diego played the better baseball game, and they deserved to win it. And that's part of that Hoffman versus Tatis at bat. That's a big part of what that was, right? That was, you can say Hoffman was a little bit unlucky that Tatis managed to get a piece of either of those because they were so far out of the zone, and they both normally, for most people, that's a strikeout pitch, right? And if he strikes him out there, he gets out of that inning, and the Padres, not only do they not score the go-ahead, they don't end up getting all that other stuff either. But it sort of snowballed after that. I don't feel like Jeff Hoffman pitched incredibly poorly. What was the other? I know there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Again, I'm really sorry, you guys. Going to deal for the lefty with 1 out. It was a strategy I had thought maybe we'd see earlier in the season, with the new 3-batter minimum, and that screwed the Rockies here too. And I'll tell you, I wanted to see it. I've wanted to see this a couple other times. I could not tell you off the top of my head, but there have been other times where there's 2 outs in the inning. They got a lefty coming up, and you go, and I'm going, look, I know you don't trust Deal or Pazos all that much, but surely they can get an out here. They can come in and get this guy, and then you don't have to bring him back out. If the inning ends, right, you don't have to send that guy back out there. So Buddy went with that strategy. I think, unless I'm missing one, that was the first time this year he's done that. And Phillip Deal walked the guy. He came in, I think it was Trent Grisham, right? He came in to get lefty Trent Grisham, and he ended up losing a 3-2 count. Pitch was just low. If it's a quarter inch higher, probably strike 3 looking at it. And again, that inning doesn't happen, and you're not turning to Ashton Godot, and then the game's not spiraling away from the Rockies. Maybe they've got a chance there to come back and win it at the end. I don't feel like the final score of this one was necessarily indicative. I know it's super frustrating. They coulda, shoulda, woulda won this one 4-2 if, a couple other things just go their way, if Free has his normal stuff, but I got neighbors setting off fireworks. 2020 has been a strange year, hasn't it? Yeah, Henry. It's impended upon everybody to try to keep focus now and to get focus back and to go back out there and do what you can and try to win some baseball games. BR Carey, no idea why Padres Twitter is so savage, though honestly, there are elements of Rockies Twitter that can be very, very savage, and I wonder to some degree if that comes with years of not winning. San Diego Padres haven't played in the postseason, if you want to count it that way, since the Rockies beat them in game 163 in 2007. They haven't been in the postseason in a minute. They haven't been a legitimate threat to win a World Series in a very long time. They've got a good, young, hungry club, and so I get why, Padres fans are excited and why the media is ready to crown them stuff. And hey, look, it's a good team until they shut me up, or until I shut them up. I don't know. I predicted that it was still too early, and maybe I was wrong about that. It happens. It's happened before. But yeah, I mean, it's common throughout baseball, right? Most fan bases have not experienced success with any kind of regularity. You can name more teams that have experienced years of futility and failure than you can perennial contenders. Who are your perennial contenders? The Yankees, the Red Sox, though they're terrible this year. The Cubs, though they're only perennial contenders because they're always in the postseason, but they've only won the World Series twice in 150 years. Again, the Dodgers, they always win the division. They always have the resources, but they haven't won the World Series. They've won the World Series once in my lifetime, and I'm 33. Yankees won a whole bunch of times. Obviously, we know the Giants got several this last decade, but they're not. Before that, the Giants hadn't won one since they were in New York in the 50s. People were wondering if the Giants were ever going to win a World Series. They were starting to be one of those cursed teams like the Cubs and the Red Sox and all that. Now, all those teams have World Series championships, and the Rockies may feel cursed. I'm sure the Padres fan base feels like their team is cursed, and the Reds and the Orioles and the Royals did there for a very long time. And it's baseball. It's a humbling game. A humbling game. That's right. A little too much, a little too late again. The team is toying with you like a yo-yo. You can't look away. Don't look away. It's baseball. I'd have played for food money. It's a great game. It's a brutal game. It's a hard game. It punishes you for every mistake that you make and for mistakes that you didn't even make. Random ass nonsense. That triple that Raimel Tapia hit tonight, center fielder misplayed the ball by a quarter inch on what should have been a single, and Raimel Tapia took 2 extra bases on him. The last 2 runs the Padres scored on Kyle Freeland were on broken bat opposite field hits where they got jammed by the pitch. That wasn't even a mistake. This game will beat you down. Not unlike certain systems. Not unlike some news about certain heroes. But you get back up and you play again tomorrow. That's the beauty of baseball. You don't have the time, right? It's the tragedy and the beauty of baseball. It's like the tragedy and the beauty of this country and of life. It beats you down. But you don't give up. You wake up tomorrow and you do it again. That's the great thing about baseball. So the Rockies have a game again tomorrow, and I'll be there for that. I should probably sign off now because I can feel myself getting there again. And as an artist oh God, I just used that word, didn't I? But whatever. As somebody who's created things in my life, I just want to say cheers to Chadwick Boseman. Thank you for the art. And thank you for bringing to life one of the most important characters and heroes of my life. So sorry for all of that, you all. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do more baseball tomorrow. I promise it'll be about baseball tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Wakanda forever. Good night.